It's time to dig into our challenge for this week, reading in a CSV file and exploring it using the Variable Explorer. Python does not have the capability to read in CSV files on its own. We need to add this capability to Python by using a library called Pandas. Pandas is a library which we use to perform data analysis and data manipulation, and it's built on top of the Python language. You can find out more about it by going to pandas.pydata.org. This is going to be our data manipulation tool for the rest of the course. In order to use Pandas, we first need to import it into our Python program. The way we import libraries is by using the import statement. And it's good practice to put all of your imports at the start of your Python file. What we'll do to bring in pandas into our Python file is we'll write the line import pandas as PD at the start of our file. So we'll come up to the start of the file and write the word import pandas as PD. Now, if we run this file, nothing's going to happen. Well, we'll still print out hello world and the result of x plus y, but this on its own doesn't do anything. This is just the groundwork we need to get our environment ready. In fact, let's start from a new file. I'm going to create a new file, and I will go to File, Save As, and I will save this as example2.py. And I'm going to save it in my week 1 folder so that it is beside my table 1 smoking versus cancer. This is the file we're going to read in a few minutes. I'm selecting all of the content and clearing it out, and I will replace it with import pandas as PD. If I run this file, again, nothing happens. However, I'm starting with a brand new file, and I still have all my old variables here. When you start in a new file, it's a good practice to clean up your Variable Explorer and your console. And you can clear out your Variable Explorer by hitting the Clear All Variables button, and you can clear your console by right-clicking it and then clicking on Clear Console. So here's how to do it. To clear out the variables, we come up to this eraser and click Remove All Variables. And to clear our console, we right-click the console and click on Clear Console. Now we have a clean environment and we're ready to start. So after we bring in pandas to our Python file, we're going to use a function called readCSV. This will load our CSV file from our disk into a data frame and then store that data frame in a variable. Remember a couple minutes ago we used the print function to print our name to the console? We passed in our name as what was called a parameter. We need to pass in our file name as a parameter to this readCSV function. We'll talk more about what functions do in a future week, but for now, you can think of it as the way of asking a computer to do something for you. Let's read in our first data frame. We'll import pandas as PD at the top of our file. Then I will declare a variable called data, and I will set this equal to pd.read_CSV. And then in quotes, I will provide the file name of the CSV file. In this case, table1 underscore smoking versus cancer.csv. And if I run this program, you'll see that I have a new variable in my Variable Explorer called data. It's of type data frame, and it has the size 18.5. What does that mean? What it means is we have a data frame that has 18 rows and 5 columns. Now, let's take a step back, because we need to pat ourselves on the back. We've not only downloaded our data file, we've written Python code to read our data from disk and put it in a variable. Now we're ready to explore that data frame using the Variable Explorer. But how do we do that? Well, first off, what the heck is this data frame thing? Well, data frames are a type of variable in Python, and they're available to us once we bring in the pandas library. Data frames store our data in a table-like format. Each data frame has columns with rows of data. This is the form that your data will take on once we read it from a CSV file. We can do whatever we want to these data frames, and they will not affect the data that is stored on your computer. After your manipulations, you'll find in a later week how we can save those manipulations back out to your computer. Well, what's cool about using the Spider environment is that you may have noticed that we have this new variable with the type data frame. Let's double-click on the name of your data variable. We'll come back into Spider and double-click on Data. Check it out. We have a Data Frame Explorer built into Spider. And notice how it's highlighted our number values. If pandas can interpret a column as numbers, it will apply a low to high color highlighting to highlight values in your data frame column. And if you scroll this window, we can see that as time goes on, smoking rate seems to go down and lung cancer rates seem to go down. Very cool. Now, CSV files are not the only type of file that pandas can import. We can also read Excel files into a data frame. I've provided an exact copy of the smoking versus cancer data file as both CSV and Excel. Now, we can't use read CSV to read Excel files, but we can use read Excel to read Excel files. So check this out. I can create a new variable called data Excel and set this equal to pd.read_Excel. And I'll pass in the file name, table1, smoking versus cancer.xlsx. And now I have two variables, one data frame, which has the CSV file, and one data frame, which has the data from the Excel file. Congratulations. You've written your first Python code, and we've done our first bit of data exploration using Spider. Next week, we're going to cover how to run our first regression analysis using Spider, Pandas, and Python.